right, today is going to be a juicy little training. If you are somebody who gets nervous, anxious, maybe nauseous even when you go to speak on camera, on stage, in front of an audience, in front of your students, your colleagues. If you are someone who feels that way, feels nervous, and you don't know how to get a handle on your nerves, then you are in the right place, because today I'm going to give you my best tips to overcome here. Hello, my name is Emanuela.hall. I am a speaking coach. I work with leaders and entrepreneurs to tell their story and become captivating speakers online and on stages so that they can further their mission or business and honestly change the world. If that sounds like you, you're in the right place. All right, today we're going to talk about nerves. But first, I want to ask you, and if you are watching the replay, you can totally drop it in the replay comments and I can always come back to you. But I would love to know, what do nerves actually mean? Like, what does I'm nervous present like for you? What are the physiological responses in your body to this feeling of being nervous that you have identified as nerves or anxiety? I'm not seeing anything coming through, but I would love to know, because everybody kind of identifies it differently. So for me, nerves present like a little bit of knots in my belly. Sometimes I feel like my breath is shallow and quicker. Another response might be your heart racing a little faster, your body temperature rising. Some people might experience really sweaty hands, racing thoughts. So I would love to know which one of these sounds like you, because they're all good. They're all good. My point in asking this is to let us recognize that our nerves and anxiety present as physiological symptoms that now we have labeled as nerves. And I'm going to get into how we can label them better. But before we get into that, I did want to mention, if you are someone who suffers from this, which I assume you are, or you wouldn't be like here watching this video with me today, joining me on this live training, then you are not alone. Okay, 75, I think it's 75 or like 77 people struggle with the fear of public speaking, glossophobia. And yours may be a spectrum, right? You might be like, I'm not fearful, but when I go to do it, I just get all this bottle of nerves and I don't know what to do with it. Okay, so there are levels, right? Then there's like extreme fear. So all of this is simply your nervous system reacting to a situation, right? This is what we do as human beings, as biological beings. We are constantly going between parasympathetic nervous system and sympathetic nervous system. I think there is another layer, but we're just going to deal with those two for now. Parasympathetic, right? Rest, relax, restore, renew. That's responsible for digestion and sleep and growth and our immune system. That's why when we are not in our parasympathetic nervous system, often we are more susceptible to illness. Now, speaking for you and for most people, especially if you are on stage and you have a lot of people watching you, that switches into our sympathetic nervous system. And that's not a bad thing, you guys. Because if we were super duper relaxed, like all zen when we go to speak, we would not be very engaging. We'd be like, hey, I'm just going to talk today. I feel I'm really at peace. Now, some of you, that may be how you operate, how you naturally are, and it may be very well aligned with what you do and how you serve people. I'm not here to tell you you have to be more bold and loud and outgoing, right? That's not what I do. But there should be some energy that is going to draw people to you. If you're too relaxed and too checked out and too whatever, it's not going to be very exciting. Nerves don't have to be a bad thing. Typically, we say that when somebody is in sympathetic nervous system, this is the fight, flight, or freeze. Right? So I'm sure you are well aware of this, but before we were as evolved as we are, when we were chasing, or when a lion was chasing us, right, we had the option to fight, flight, or freeze. And those things still happen in our bodies when we are in situations that feel a little bit unsafe or a lot unsafe. And like I said, 75% of people feel very unsafe, feel very afraid when it comes to sharing their voice and speaking. You're not alone. Most people choose flight. Okay, most people, especially if they're not entrepreneurs, they would rather just not have to have that situation ever. Like, just don't give me a mic, don't put a camera on me, don't ask me what I think. I just want to be in the other room. I just want to listen. And listen, I have moments where I'm like that. Trust me. If I'm at a conference or an event, sometimes I just want to be like, I want to be the passive observer. We're not always going to be ready to speak. But as people who want to grow your mission, grow your business, grow your visibility, spread your message, change the world, you are going to have to. I mean, I don't like saying have to, but you're going to want to feel a little better about speaking because it's really going to help you in this mission. You don't have to do anything. But again, if you're here watching, I assume that you want to. Most people choose flight. But you're not most people. So maybe you fall into more of the freeze category. You do it because you know it's the right thing to do. You want to do it. You have these dreams of like being able to motivate and inspire and impact people. You do it, but every time there's like this block or the fear or the nerves just really take over you and it's like you can't even speak. Maybe that's another physiological symptom for you. You feel like you have like a frog in your throat. So many of you here, I'm sure, can relate more to the freezing choice. Okay, so we've got flighters who flee. They're just like, I'm not doing that. We've got the freezers who do it, but they're not really sure what's going to happen. And what we want to try is to be the fighters, the ones who go head on, who face this fear of speaking, who face their nerves and their anxiety, and actually know how to use them. That's a little bit of the backstory here of what we're actually talking about. Because we can say nerves, or I'm nervous, or I'm anxious, but I want you to really identify, like, what does that look like for you? Because based on what it looks like, whatever the symptom is, the diagnosis, the treatment is going to be different, right? Okay. These are some of the tried and true tips that I have that will work across the board. And you should try different ones on for size, because again, if it's that you get really, really, really sweaty, you might not want to like put on your dance jam and start dancing around. Maybe you're just going to get more sweaty. And you're not going to feel very good about that. You got to walk on stage with like armpit stuff. Okay. The first thing though is we have to remember that our nerves, our nervous system is our body. It's not all up here, my friends. You can't just think your way into not being nervous. So, pause. Notice. What is the physiological symptom? Where do I feel it in my body? And then what can I give my body to treat that symptom? 90% of the time, it's movement and breath work. Movement might just mean stretching and breathing while you do it. Movement might mean taking a walk around the block. Or it could mean shaking it out, which is what I had to do this just before this because I was really like tense and stiff. I didn't sleep well. I haven't been sleeping well because my little guy's getting up really early. He's got a little cold. So I'm not getting enough sleep. So I'm feeling very tense. Also had an intense workout yesterday, and so I'm kind of sore and, tired. So I needed to like move my body, but in a gentle way. And then I needed to shake it out. Just like get things moving around. Feel kind of loose. Okay. Then if it's breath, right? If you're feeling like your breath is getting really shallow and labored, I teach how to do different types of breath work, but essentially you want to deepen your breath and slow it down. And a big exhale out the mouth is always a great way. To just like let out all that energy, let out all that nerves. You can visualize the nervous energy leaving your body out your breath. Okay, so first and foremost, check in with your body, check in with your breath. Forget about thinking for a minute, right? Redirect all your thoughts to, okay, what am I feeling? What am I experiencing? And how can I treat that? How can I move into that? Inside of the Captivating Speakers Academy, you learn different tools, specific tools. So you've always got something in your tool belt and you can pull it out, right? Warming up today might look different for me than warming up tomorrow. It's not a one size fits all. The next thing, and this is for everybody, this is a one size fits all, get grounded. Plant your feet on the ground, stand tall, do that breath work. And this is where you can add in, once you've moved your body and you've connected to your breath, this is where you can add in maybe those affirmations. And we're going to get to that in a second. Now, this is super, goes without saying. Like if you're here, I'm assuming you already know this, but a great way to calm your nerves when you're about to speak is make sure you know your material. That does not mean you need it all memorized. I have my little notes here. Sometimes I tape them up in front of or behind the camera, but I go over them, right? The notes are simply there because I don't want to miss anything. And I'm human and I got distractions and people pop up and say hello. And I don't want to miss telling you some important information. But as you can see, I'm not like reading it line for line. But I'm also not relying on memorizing every single thing I want to say. I have little point forms. So know your material, knowing it inside and out is going to help you feel more prepared. And when we are prepared, we are not going into battle unequipped. We're like, yeah, I'm nervous. My body's doing some funky things, but I know my stuff. So that is something you can say. I know my stuff. I know this material like the back of my hand. If I got stopped on the street and somebody asked me about it, I could talk about it. Now, you might get a little bit like thrown off. But I also want you to think about, before you start speaking, even the night before, visualize how you want it to go. Run through your points and imagine who is going to be affected by your words, who's going to be impacted by your words, by the way you deliver it. And then the more you visualize it, you can start to embody it. So it's not just about how do you want your audience to feel, although that is like number one. But like, how do you want to feel when you speak? And you guys know that I'm an actress by trade, so you can literally like step into the role, right? Like breathe in yourself, breathe out yourself, and then breathe in Emanuela the speaker, and breathe out Emanuela the speaker. Now I am breathing that new, higher version of me into existence. This might feel a little woo-woo for some of you, but honestly, it's just breathing and imagining. Right? We are just tapping into what's already there, what God has called you to this higher level if the dream exists within you. You just haven't put it on yet. Okay. I really hope that my sound is okay. I'm sure it is. Okay. The last thing, and this goes into affirmations. So we've been calling this, hold on, I have to take a sip of water. We've been labeling these symptoms as nerves, as anxiety. But what if for a minute you could trick yourself? Because let's review those physiological symptoms. And I want you to think of something now, before we review them, think of something that you love doing and gets you super excited. So if it's not speaking, I always try to say like going on a roller coaster, because I haven't actually been on a roller coaster in like, I don't know, 10 years. But I used to have this like nervous excitement. Like, I love it. It's so much fun, but I'm also really scared. I want you to think of something like that for you. Maybe it's even just like seeing an old friend. You get really excited, right? Like that kid in you the night before Christmas. Whatever it is, something that makes you excited and a little bit nervous, a little bit like, ooh, how's it gonna go? Because plenty of times, the same physiological symptoms will show up. You'll get the nervousness in your belly, the little knots. Maybe your breathing is more shallow. Maybe your hands are sweaty. See where I'm going with this? Our body is reacting and having a symptom that presents the same when we have adrenaline running through our veins. So what if for a minute you could say something to yourself before you speak, like, I'm so excited to talk today. Or, I can't wait. I can't wait to share my message. I can't wait to talk to the people who need to hear me. I can't wait to share my gifts. I absolutely love speaking to my audience. I am telling you, if you say those things out loud to people who are around you, right? If we're constantly identifying as someone who does not speak well, doesn't like public speaking, it's like if you're always telling your kid that they're bad, they're going to see themselves as bad and they're going to always be bad. Perhaps this message, this story you've been saying, you've been telling yourself was told to you by someone in your life. And we go into all of that inside the Captivating Speakers Academy. We talk about speaking blocks. Messages we receive that we have now chosen are our own, subconsciously usually, or experiences that we've had that did not go the way we had hoped. But now is your chance. You don't need to live with that story. Because that little fire, that little dream to speak, to go out there, even if it's just in your classroom or boardroom, it's there, which means it can come into being. God has placed that on your heart. He's called you to it. We're just living in that old story. So we can start to choose different sentences, right? I know there's tons of mindset coaches in here. Choose different thoughts and speak those thoughts out loud. When we speak it out loud, we bring it into existence. This is why speaking is so powerful, and sharing our creative voices, because they have less power over us. Sharing your story, sharing your message, sharing your voice, it puts it out into existence. It's no longer just like wheeling around in your brain. I would love for you to write in the comments the one thing you're going to say to yourself the next time you feel nervous. What is it going to be? I love speaking. I'm excited to do this. I can't wait to talk to people tomorrow. This is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. God made me for this. Let's start on the base level of being a human being, right? Start with your body, your breath, get grounded. Know what you're going to say, know your material. Visualize it going really well, and then speak what you want to be true. And it will start to be true. When I began as a speaking coach 3 years ago, it was really hard to say I'm a speaking coach because I hadn't actually coached anyone. I had coached people, but I didn't call it speaking coaching. And it felt really weird because when we're stepping into something new, into a new role, it's hard to say it. We don't have that proof yet. But the more you say it, eventually, I was helping people. I was coaching people. If you keep saying you're bad at it, we're not going to get anywhere, right? Now, you know as well as I do that these are things that don't just happen overnight. You can't just watch one training of mine. You can go and watch all the trainings if you want. Have at her. And they will help. They will absolutely help. And that's why I put these things out there, because I want you to share your voice. It can change the world. But it's gonna take a little bit longer. So if you are ready to speak with charisma, we talked about these last week, clarity, connection, and courage, then you'll want to grab the Captivating Speakers Academy. Black Friday offer ends tomorrow. This was more like a November offer, because it's going to give you everything you need to captivate your audience, to feel calm, confident, and yes, excited about speaking. When you buy the course, you'll also get access to the live group program happening in February. 8 weeks with me and a bunch of other fabulous people. 8 Q&As, presentation. You'll also get a one-on-one with me and a special bonus, the Speakers Startup Bundle. If you are ready, I invite you to take the leap with me. Let's do it together. Let's crush your speaking in 2024. My friends, as always, you know where to find me. You can DM me. You can grab the bundle. If you just drop a me in the comments, I will send you the link. And if you have any questions, also don't forget to write your affirmation down below. What are you going to say to yourself next time you go to speak so that you can absolutely feel like the speaker that you are? All right, that's all she wrote for today. I hear my baby woke up upstairs. He's got a bit of a sniffle today. I'm gonna go see him. Please reach out if you have any questions. Mwah! You're amazing. Go use your voice, because it just might be the thing that changes the world.